Hello everyone, Miss Johnson here with lesson number 10. And to begin lesson number 10, I'm going to start off by reading you Silly Goose's Big Story. Silly Goose's Big Story by CKLA. Goose made up great stories. His friends would always beg him, "Tell us a story, Goose." One day, Goose said, "Once upon a time, there were fierce pirates. Soon, they were sailing the 7 seas together, looking for treasures, and Goose was the captain, the fiercest of all." Another day, Goose said, "Once upon a time, there were scary dinosaurs. Soon they were roaming the earth together, hunting and growling, and naturally, Goose was the T-Rex, the scariest of all." Then another day, Goose said, "Once upon a time, there was a mighty king. Soon they were marching through towns and hills together, conquering the world." And who got to play the king, the mightiest of all? Why, Goose, of course. "Wait a minute, Goose," said Beaver. "You always play the hero. Why can't we take turns?" "Yeah," said Porcupine. "I'd like to be the hero sometime." "Me too," said Squirrel. "No way," said Goose. "I always play the hero. Come on, keep marching." "That's selfish," said his friends. But Goose wouldn't give in. "They are my stories, so I'm the hero," he insisted. They were so busy arguing they didn't notice that someone was listening. Suddenly, a big wolf shouted, "Hello, lunch!" They all screamed and ran. But poor Goose tripped on his royal cape. Wolf scooped him up in an instant. "So, you're the hero, huh?" Wolf chuckled. "More like a hero sandwich to me." Goose was in big trouble. He had to think fast. Finally, he had an idea. "Mr. Wolf," Goose said, "I'm glad I found you. You're in great danger." "Is that so?" Wolf laughed. "How?" "Well, I'll tell you." Goose began the biggest story he ever told. "Once upon a time, there were thousands of happy wolves living on this mountain." "Uh-huh," said Wolf. "Then, one day, what's his name? Oh yeah, Wem showed up," said Goose. "Wem? Who's that?" "Oh, Wem is short for wolf-eating monster." Goose continued. "He used to wander around saying, 'Yum, yum, I smell a wolf.' And when he felt one, he popped it into his mouth like a peanut." "You are lying," said Wolf, but he looked worried. "It's true, Mr. Wolf," said Goose. "Do you see thousands of wolves here? And this is the worst part. Wem is back." Just at that moment, the tree started to shake and they heard loud footsteps in the distance. "What's that?" said Wolf. Soon, spikes of hair appeared above the treetops. "It couldn't be," said Wolf. Then a deep voice bellowed, "Yum, yum, I smell a wolf." "It's Wem!" cried Wolf. He dropped Goose like a hot potato and took off running. He never looked back. Whew! Goose was relieved. But not for long. Something big was coming his way. It was getting closer and closer. Then, from behind the trees, there came his ferocious-looking friends. Yum, yum, I smell a wolf. They were still growling together. Goose shouted with relief. Oh, you guys, you're a whim. Yup, I shook the trees, said Squirrel. The footsteps were me, slapping my tail, said Beaver. I was Whim's hair, said Porcupine. Hey, you know what? Beaver shouted suddenly. We finally got to play the heroes. Play the heroes, cried Goose. You are the heroes. You saved me. Tell us another story, Goose, the friends begged as they walked home. Okay, I've got a good one, said Goose. Once upon a time, there was a silly goose who had the 3 greatest friends in the whole world. The end. Okay, guys, I hope that you all really enjoyed Silly Goose's Big Story. I read this to you all as kind of a refresher or a review of our CKLA Stories domain. This is during our listening and learning time or our story time every day. This was back in domain 3, so it's been a while since we read these. But some of the stories that you all heard during this were Chicken Little, The 3 Little Pigs, The 3 Billy Goats Gruff, The Wolf and the 7 Little Kids, The Bremen Town Musicians, Mama Tara Peach Boy, The Story of Jumping Mouse, Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, and Tug of War. So I hope that you all remember some of the stories that we read during our listening and learning time. And the big essential understanding, or the big thing that you needed to understand about stories, is students will understand the elements of a story: the plot, characters, setting, through various types of fiction. So the main thing that you needed to know from stories are the plot, what happens in the story, the characters, who was in the story, and the setting, which is where the story took place. So what we had you do at the end of the domain is we gave you a paper that looked like this. And on this paper, you picked a story, your favorite one that you heard, and you told us the plot of the story, which is what happened in the story at the beginning of it, the middle of it, and then the end. Then you drew us the setting, which is where the story took place, and then you drew us the characters of that story. So your task for today, what I would like for you to do, if you could get a parent to help you with this at home, to kind of draw something like this similar out on a piece of paper with just like a pencil and paper, and put the beginning, middle, and end, and also put the setting and characters. What I want you to do is use the story I just read to you, Silly Goose's Big Story, and I want you to plug this into this organizer. So I want you to tell me what happened in the beginning of the Silly Goose's Big Story, what happened in the middle of Silly Goose's Big Story, and what happened at the end. You can draw me a picture, and then if you want to write a short sentence for each one, you can do that as well. Also, I want you to draw me the setting, and you can write a short sentence for that as well. Where did this story take place? Where were they during all of this? Also, I want you to draw me the characters, and you can write a little caption underneath of each one if you would like. You can also write the story name, which is Silly Goose's Big Story. So that is your task for today. I want you to think about the plot, the characters, and the setting of Silly Goose's Big Story. As always, if you would love to share with me on Dojo Messenger, I love seeing your work. So keep sending them. Okay, I'll see you all next time.